This is the fifth episode of Gen Z Investing Insights. We almost had a name change, and then Pearson liked the name change, so we're gonna keep it there. It was gonna be like GZ Investing, but then he was like, "That sounds like a guy," so we're gonna keep it Gen Z Investing Insights. But my first question today is, how should the SEC and other similar regulators treat AI investing? Like, should AI be treated as an entity that can be a financial advisor, or should it be treated as like a company?
I think it's really important that AI be regulated in the stock market. I think most importantly, or I think the best way to regulate it would be as if it was a financial advisor. So at the end of the day, it's taking your money, it's executing trades. It is a financial advisor. However, it's just not a physical person, but it does the exact same things a financial advisor would do. So I think that would be the best way to regulate it.
I 100% agree. I think AI right now, with the technology we have, should be treated as a financial advisor because it does the exact same thing that a financial advisor will do. They look at all the fundamentals and all the technicals and all that stuff, and it's trades based on that. So very similar to a financial advisor at this point.
And I think a lot of people are doing research into how effective AI and large language models are at investing. I know there's this Twitter page, and I haven't been keeping up with it, but it seems like AI is doing very good at investing and taking stock picks. So people are going to start using that as businesses where they're investing AI into their businesses and using that to inform their decision. So regulation is going to be very important when it comes to financial regulation and the intersection with AI. The next question I have is I've been thinking a lot how Gen Z is going to be business leaders in the future. And I thought about how we compare to other generations, specifically millennials. And I came up with a question that is Gen Z more or less entrepreneurial than millennials?
I think this is a really, really good question. I think as the generations pass, I feel like we become more innovative in a way because I feel like previous generations rather were so focused on amassing wealth through kind of not necessarily the most ethical ways, but just they were looking for ways to make as much money as possible. And I think we've turned to now where the most innovative solution makes the most money as possible. So people look to be as innovative as possible in order to seek as much wealth as possible. So I think that was a really drastic change in the generations that have gone through.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think. Do you want
there
to
you
go
go.
first?
No, you go, you go.
So I think if you look at the history of business, people like Rockefeller were very monopolistic. And if you've read Peter Thiel's what was it called? Competition is for the Loser, monopoly has been kind of pushed away, and we're now looking at the best businesses are the most innovative. So I think going forward, especially for Gen Z, the most successful business will be the most innovative rather than the most monopolistic.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was gonna say something similar to you, Jacob. I think also like it's not as if like other generations aren't as hard working and they're not putting as much time and effort. It just like a cultural difference between the generations as Gen Z has to be more innovative. Just two
Yeah,
different ways.
and when tech keeps on getting better and better, you can only reinvent the wheel so many times before it's the same wheel. So you have to create something else other than the wheel that people are going to find very valuable. Yeah. And going into people being very innovative, some people don't find him very innovative. I really like him. That's Elon Musk. He's taken over Twitter. He was a early investor in Tesla and eventually took over, and he was a co-founder of PayPal. My question is Elon Musk a good leader for a company, and would you want him leading your own company one day?
Objectively speaking, yes, he is. You look at his history as a leader, all of it, almost all of his history as a leader has been successful. Tesla, PayPal, SpaceX, every single company he's touched has gone well for him. It's been at points where he's had hard times, like when he slept on the Tesla floor, or when he had to make the decision between Tesla and SpaceX to invest into with his own money. But every company he's led has done something innovative and changed the world in a positive way. So I do think he's a good leader. Yes.
I think that is a perfect like way to describe Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk is a really profound leader, and he does really bring out the best in each company he provides, or he not necessarily provides, but each company he joins, and he really makes it so that a company runs more efficiently. So on a worker perspective, let's say if you're a worker for one of his companies, you might not think he's the best leader because you're going to be working a lot harder than you were previously when he was not there. But I think the innovation and everything that he provides really does make him a really great leader for a company in terms of investment opportunity and in terms of how well a company is run as well.
I think if you look at the history of Elon Musk, starting with Zip2, where he had to go to the YMCA and he was working basically all day, and then he goes to PayPal after he made what 21 million off of Zip2, goes into PayPal, he does his thing with PayPal, he makes PayPal very successful, and it exits with I think it was eBay. He goes to Tesla, he has some trouble with SpaceX, and now he's just doing great. Everything he touches becomes better. Even if you look at Twitter, Twitter is very controversial. People don't like him as a Twitter CEO. He now has a new CEO, which we'll talk about later. But I think I'm a Twitter user, and I think Twitter has gotten better under his leadership. And I just really think that Elon is a great leader. It's not like trying to be nice to him or anything, but I think objectively, as Alex said, he is a great leader. Anything else you guys want to?
I think that covers it. Yeah.
Well, with that, we can just go into the new Twitter CEO, Linda Yaccarino. I think that's how you say it. Do you guys, and Elon will stay on as one of the board of directors, but do you guys think she'll make any profound changes to Twitter in the coming months?
I mean, I think it's hard to say for sure what she will do. I think that the audience Elon has attracted to Twitter is an audience of Elon, not solely fans, but they like what he's doing. And so I think it would be a mistake for her to make any drastic changes from what Elon has done and the plan he has set for Twitter going forward, as he has that big plan of just integrating everything. So I think it'd be a big mistake on her behalf to kind of go against anything Elon said. However, I do think she'll change a couple of things here and there.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, but I don't think she's going to really make any drastic changes just because she was appointed by Elon Musk. And I know Elon Musk is going to appoint leaders that agree with his ideals. And so Elon is, a busy guy. He has a lot of companies that he's working on. He was actually a starter of OpenAI. He has all these other companies that he has to manage in his little free time that he has. And I think that he's really making a great decision by bringing other people on in order to help run his company even more efficiently and kind of distribute his time around evenly to all of his companies.
Yeah, I think something that Elon does very well with his companies is that he creates a community around all these companies. And he did this with Twitter. So the community he's created with Twitter really likes what he did. And I don't think that Linda really wants to change that culture at all. And I think she'll not change anything really too drastically, but she'll listen to feedback. She'll be a CEO basically. But another Elon PayPal, not Elon PayPal, another Elon IP is PayPal. This is the Elon episode. So PayPal did have a rocky week. Their Q1 earnings came out. They were hit with massive sell-offs, and their stock dropped. So do you guys think that PayPal can do well in the future? Are they a really old business? They're like 24 years old now. Do you think they can do well in the future? And what would they need to? How would they need to iterate to succeed in the future?
So I really do like PayPal as a business. Not really the PayPal aspect, but I do love Venmo. I think Venmo is a way to, there's so much youth on that app and it's only growing. But the problem is with Venmo right now and with most of PayPal's ways of making money is they're not profitable enough with those means. They need to find a way, and I don't know how they're going to do this to make each of their businesses profitable because they have the user base that's already there, but they just have to figure out how to make as much money on them as possible.
Something Pierce said that I was thinking of is he uses Venmo. All of my friends I know use Venmo. Like I can't really tell you any Gen Z, like any of my friends who don't use Venmo or who have PayPal over Venmo. So I think that's something that PayPal will have to do going forward. They have to target a new audience in a sense. I feel like they're losing people to different apps that do the same thing. PayPal was revolutionary when it first came out, but now there's PayPal, or now there's like Venmo, Zelle. There's all these different ways of sending money. And I think the sell-off was justified. I think PayPal has to change going forward to attract a new audience.
I think if you look how PayPal started, where they they started, at least Confinity, which, so there was X.com, there was Confinity, and they merged into PayPal. Confinity started as these like blocky phones, and you would like zip money to people through I think it was infrared. And they had to iterate, they had to innovate, and they had to change their product so that people would use it. And now you find PayPal 24 years later having to do the same thing where they have to innovate their product so that they can get more money. That was an original problem with PayPal, is that they couldn't find a good way to monetize it. And as Alex said, a bunch of Gen Z, I use PayPal, Pierce uses PayPal, Alex uses PayPal.
In Venmo?
I mean,
Or yeah.
Venmo. Uh, and they just don't have a lot of revenue streams. But if you look at competitors like Cash App, they're going into investing, and I think that's an opportunity for Venmo to do, is to get into investing. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to use investing to create more revenue streams. Do you guys think investing is a good way for Venmo to go?
I
Venmo
think
or
that, yeah, I
PayPal?
think they've,
Wait,
I
do you
think
mean
Venmo
Venmo?
started, Venmo and PayPal are same subsidiary. Isn't Venmo a subsidiary of PayPal?
I
So,
think there's, yeah, I think they're
so,
together.
so in that case, Venmo, I think they started to implement cryptocurrencies. I don't know about stocks, but I know that you can invest on cryptocurrencies through the app. But I think if they more broadly expand into different stocks and really make it an all-in-one brokerage, they really have a chance of competing against a lot of these other companies because the key to brokerage is huge users, and Venmo already has all those established users. So the more people that they can to convert into investing, that's where the money comes. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. They just need revenue. I mean, every business does, but they're kind of struggling right now. I want to go back to AI for a second, and talk more about regulation. So I kind of want to talk about regulation, from more of a broader perspective. I think AI is something that you definitely have to regulate. There's so many different things you can do with AI, and if people are able to use AI for their own malicious means, it can lead to some really bad stuff happening. How do you guys think the government should regulate AI going forward to ensure the safety of humans?
I think one big factor when it comes to like the safety of like humans, at least like it's coming for jobs. Economically, it is going to hurt people if AI is not regulated. As for instance, like truck drivers. Like I know it's not really AI, but it's automation. When AI starts automating jobs, it's gonna hurt the US economy as people will be out of work. People aren't spending money. So the government needs to find a good middle ground of controlling AI so it's productive for people, but also to a point where it's not taking over jobs, hurting the economy.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good topic there. I think jobs being taken over by AI is still not really talked about in a huge discussion. I think Andrew Yang was a politician a few years ago who started really talking about that and how we are going to need to implement a universal basic income at some point in order to kind of compensate for all the jobs that AI displaces. So I think it's going to be something that the government's going to have to grapple with. And the matter of how they're going to get that money and who they're going to tax and how they're going to regulate everyone is still a discussion that needs to be done. And I think it needs to be done sooner than later.
Yeah, I think you guys are really right. I think AI, even if you don't think AI is coming for your job, AI is coming for your job. There's been a lot of controversy with the Writers Guild, and they've been protesting a lot. But writing is something that, art is art. But if you need like writers, and like if you're let's say you're a film producer and you need writers for your movie, and all the writers are out protesting, and you can just put in a prompt into ChatGPT and automate the script and get that movie done and make millions off of it without having to pay writers. Dude, I'm not messing around with you writers that are protesting all day. I'm just going to use AI. So that's it. That's my AI rant for today. But I do want to go into what is compound interest. I think a lot of people are getting confused about what it is. I saw this weird TikTok about it where someone misconstrued what it was. Pierce, can you tell the people what compound interest is?
Yeah, so how I always describe compound interest is, let's say you start with $1,000. So we learn about linear and we learn about exponential in high school and Most of you probably know about that, but essentially what happens in linear is the growth is the same from that previous amount each year. So let's say I grow 10% on that $1,000. If it was linear, then I would have 1,100 the first year, 1,200 the second year, and so on, 1,300, 1,400, whatever. So you grow by $100 each year. But in an exponential or compound interest way, if I was to grow by 10% on the amount, I would start with, let's say, $1,000, then I would be the same the first year, be 1,100, but then I would grow 10% on that 1,100 the next year. So at 1,100 the next year, I would grow not $100, but I would grow $110. So then I would have $1,210, and it goes so on. So that extra $10 that you get keeps on compounding and compounding on that original amount that is from the previous time. So I think that's a really good way to explain it and how impactful you could see it. That can make a big difference over time. That additional 10% on the $1,100 rather than the continuous 10% from that original $1,000 can just be super impactful into long-term investing.
I do have a question though. So the TikTok I was talking about earlier was the person was like, $5 can turn into $500,000 in 5 years. Is that a reasonable expectation to have that you'll start with a small amount of money and then it'll become very big? Because it's not crazy to think with that word compound that it'll keep on growing, but what's the timeline here? Timeline.
So if you look what the SPY does, you're not going to get for that to happen, you'd have to have, thousands of percent a year. And that's not going to happen if you're, starting with $5 and going to $50,000 in 5 years. It's like a once in a trillion chance that's going to happen. So realistically, you can expect 10% roughly, maybe like I would say anywhere from 5 to 10. If you were to estimate that, 10 is really on the high side for that. So it's that $5 maybe would be, I can't do the math right now, but it would probably be $8 or something, max $7.50. That's my guess. By that time in that 5-year period, you're not going to see that crazy return that you see in all those TikToks about how impactful compound interest is, and it is super impactful. But don't believe that you can make 1,000,000% in 5 years. That's very unlikely unless you're investing in, you find a once in a lifetime Dogecoin or something opportunity. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, compound interest is something that it's something that's very important as an investor that you should know about, but it's not something that's going to make you rich in the present. If you really want to think of how compound interest is going to affect you, you should be thinking at this not from a 5-year perspective, but like a 50, 60, when you're really old perspective, something that you can give away to your kids, something that you have in an IRA account, something in a 401k, not something that you're going to use next month for the PS5. Don't think of it like that. It's not how it works. But I do want to talk about the week ahead. Not a lot going on. We do have a bunch of retail information and consumer purchasing stuff going on. Do you guys have any predictions for next week? Anything crazy you guys think is going to happen next week?
I think we're about where we expected. I really don't. I mean, we've seen a really flat market for the past few weeks. I don't expect anything to change. I don't think there's anything too substantial right now that's going to happen. Waiting for maybe next inflation data, which is going to be, I don't know when that's coming out, but I think that's going to be the next catalyst in the market.
Yeah, I agree. I think overall, we'll probably see a percent. I don't on SPY like a percent plus or minus. I think that the market's kind of waiting for new information. Everything we've heard recently has been expected or it's fallen in line. So there's just no real news in the market. So I'm not really seeing any big plays coming up. Kind of just a more mellow market.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't like last week we were very bearish. We didn't see a lot happening, and nothing really did happen. There's not a lot that's coming out. As for anything big happening, AI there's something that's happening with AI every day. So maybe Google or OpenAI announces something that really shifts the price of Microsoft or Google. But I do have another thing I want to talk to you guys about. What is your opinion on day traders? I don't like day trading. I don't like Forex trading. I'm against that. People who are saying like I'm a 15-year-old and I've made $300,000 this month. I don't like those guys. What is your guys' take on day trading?
Well, I mean, I do a little bit. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure, you know. I like to day trade. Um, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm one of like the gambler day trades. I trade more weekly-ish, but I monitor it every day. Sometimes I'll do a call or put depending on how a reaction is to data. But I will admit it's kind of a gamble. And people promising like 3,000% returns per year, they're just lying. Because realistically, you can make estimates on where it'll go. You can make good educated guesses, but you can't 100% be sure. And I think day traders, especially online, are very misleading and very hazardous to the actual market. But I think if you just day trade or trade like weekly with calls and puts and different spreads, I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, so my take on this is interesting because I used to be a day trader kind of in a way. I saw all those, those TikToks and stuff when I first started. I was like, oh, maybe this is a good idea. And I made, you make 40% in a week or something like that the first week. Oh, like you get lucky. But then you start getting in your head, you're like, oh, maybe I'm better than the market. And I mean, us as humans are so emotional and we're gonna react, with everything that we do, we're going to react in an intense sense. And the thing about the market is you cannot be emotional. So once you get emotionally attached or anything happens, that's where you start to lose money. And that's why I think day trading, no matter who you are, I think in some capacity, we all have some emotion behind all of our trades. And in that case, I think maybe if you want to play around, it really, if it floats your boat, I would maybe allocate maximum of 10% if you're just starting out in a day trading, just to kind of experiment around. But I would really, really, really advise y'all to at least allocate 80 or so percent into long-term investments.
My take, I already gave you guys a little hint of it earlier, but I'm a very fundamentalist trader. I believe in analysis, I believe in execution, and I think that's what makes a good trade. Due diligence. When you look at stuff like these charts that day traders like to put up, it's essentially a promotional scheme for their own courses and their own self-interest. But when people's first introductions to trading, as Pierre said, is day trading, it gives people a false sense of what investing is, and it sets them up for failure. Let's say I just get into trading like Pierre says, and I have a good $200 to invest in day trading, and then I lose all of that money. I'm not going to want to invest anymore. My whole perception of investing is now ruined because I think that I can make $600,000 off one trade. So that's where I have the biggest problem with day trading is that it gives people a false sense of what trading is, not trading, but investing is. And it's really hurting how Gen Z looks at investing and long-term investments. So that's my take.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, going back to what you said, or like we talked about earlier, compound investing. Like if you want to be profitable in the market, I mean, it's gonna suck, but you're gonna have to put your money, like what you earn, put like 20% of what you earn into SPY and let the dividends just keep investing. Let the snowball roll. Eventually, it'll pay off. But realistically, you're not seeing 600% gains like you're promised on TikTok. That's just not how it is.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to really look at day trading as you're using a lot of your time, and time is a really valuable resource. And if you're day trading, you have to constantly look at the market, and that time can be used to make money in other methods. You have a job. There's so many ways to make money in that time that you're using to day trade. So it takes away a lot. It adds a lot of stress to your life. It adds, and I think it was a statistic. What is it? 99% of day traders don't make money. So there's just so many ways that can go wrong that I'm more of a steer clear type of guy and let it go long term.
Listening to this other podcast was really good. I think it's called Innovation Cloud. It was good. It was really good. It was one of these episodes, and it gave me some really good insights that I agree with. That Gen Z, because of TikTok, looks at a lot of business type stuff and investing stuff as something that's very short term. From my perspective, investing and other ventures are something that's very long term. Even with startup culture, it's still going to take you 5+ years to really get that good ROI on your original investment. And I think that's something that could really hurt us as a generation is that we look at things from the short term. because of TikToks and Instagram reels that are saying, hey, you can make X amount of money in a very short amount of time. And this has always been a thing. People have always been Ponzi scheming you, saying you can get rich quick. But I think when you're flooding people's feeds so much, saying that you can get rich quick with all these different things, people are going to memorize that and put that in their brains, that anything that they do in life, they can get a good return on their investment in a very short amount of time. And I think that's something that's going to really hurt our generation. Hey, you guys want to add?
I think you
I
said
mean,
it
real quick. Wait, if they're trying to sell you something on TikTok, if there's like link in bio for course, bro, like
Get out.
it's
Get out. Get out.
like if they were as profitable as they claim, why would they be selling you a $60 course? They don't need your money. They should be getting 600% a year.
Exactly. And if you look at stuff like day trading, not day trading, what's it called? Drop shipping. Drop shipping is the same thing as day trading, where it's just people trying to sell their courses to you, and it's all their own self-interest. Stuff like, so I tried dropship. I tried it. I tried it. It's a lot of time and effort that wasn't as advertised. And it's not really a business. It's just selling inventory. And I noticed this. I remember in our school newspaper, someone got called an entrepreneur for selling on one of those like fashion sites. Selling inventory is not being an entrepreneur. It's just selling inventory. You have this hat, and I'm going to give a person this hat in exchange for $5. That's not entrepreneurship. That's just trading.
You're a salesman at that point.
Yeah, it's not a venture. Whatever. Um, but yeah, I think if you guys don't have anything to say, that's a good point to wrap up. I think it was a little longer than last episode, but that was the 5th episode of Gen Z Investing Insights. Thank you for listening. A little more of a hectic episode than the last ones, but